Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. In today's video, let's talk about how to control our negative emotions and how to control our mind. Well, the nature of our mind is it always likes to wander in negative emotions and negative thoughts. Negative thoughts like anger, desire or lust, or then jealousy, maybe resentment. These are the negative thoughts that our mind likes to wander in. So how can we control it? Well, our great teacher Supreme Buddha introduced us a gradual training where you can practice this controlling of negative emotions or negative thoughts in your mind. So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce them to you. So first and foremost, before getting into these steps, there is one thing that you have to practice, and there is one thing that you have to master, and that is awareness. If you are not aware of what you're thinking, if you are not mindful about what you're thinking, then you cannot control it. So you have to totally understand and you have to totally be aware of what you're thinking. Okay, so whenever you become aware of what you're thinking, then you will have that power to control it. So here comes the first step. Buddha says, whenever you become aware of your mind is wandering in negative thoughts like anger or lustful thoughts or resentment or jealousy, the first thing is to shift your thought pattern to something wholesome. There are some wholesome thoughts in your mind which makes you peaceful. Maybe like thinking of something that you have done in the past, like maybe you helped someone. Whenever you think that thought, your mind becomes happy and peaceful. So what you're going to do is, whenever you become aware of your negative thoughts, we're going to shift our thought pattern to something that is wholesome, something that makes us peaceful. So that is the first thing that Buddha says. Shift your thoughts to wholesome thoughts. If that first step did not work out, then what you have to do, go for the next step. What is that? Buddha says, think about the disadvantages of thinking negative emotions, right? If you are constantly having angry thoughts, then you have to think, these thoughts are hurting myself and others. If I take actions according to these thoughts, it will hurt myself and the others. Remember, it may be a little thought of anger, but if it grow up, what will happen? It will be destructive. So what do you have to do? Think about the drawbacks or disadvantages of thinking these negative thoughts. Then, whenever you see these disadvantages, your mind will tend to stay away from these negative thoughts. Most of the time, we are not aware of these disadvantages. Okay? So what do you have to do? Think, if I keep on thinking these negative thoughts, it is not going to help me. It will disrupt my peacefulness, right? That is the second step. Then as the third step, Buddha says, pay no mind, pay no attention. If the second step did not work out, go for the third step, to not to pay any attention to that thought, right? See, whenever we give so much attention to something, maybe a thought, it grows again and again, it grows more, right? For an example, if you became angry with someone and if you keep thinking about him again and again and becoming angry, that anger will grow more and more. So what do you have to do? We have to let the thought be a thought without paying much attention, right? When you just stay away from giving attention, then it will fade away from your mind. It's something like this. Have you seen little babies, when they fall down, they start to cry, right? If the parent or the mother or father see that it is not a big deal of falling, if mother or father did not give any attention to that baby, what does he do? He just don't care about that. He will stop crying. Same thing goes with our mind. If we did not pay any attention to that thought, right? If we did not care about that thought and just let it go and let it pass away from our mind, then it will fade away. That is one way of doing that. If the third step did not work for you, then the Buddha says, go for the fourth step to relax your thought process. Right? Now remember, when you think negative thoughts, your mind becomes so much busy, so much rough and distracted. So, what you're going to do is, you're thinking, why am I thinking these distractive thoughts? These negative thoughts that are making me so much busy and making me distracted, right? So, what you're going to do is, you're relaxing your thought process to something very soft and subtle. Maybe like loving kindness, maybe like compassion, right? Maybe like gratefulness. When you think those thoughts, when you think more positive thoughts, your mind or your thought process becomes so much relaxed. And then, if the fourth step did not work for you, then it comes the final step. This is something that we have to do with a great care. I do not recommend for everyone to do this. This should be done with a great experience and a good practice, right? And that is to crush your thought with awareness, right? You have to be totally aware of your thinking pattern and have a good determination to your mind that I am not going to think these negative thoughts, right? But this should not be done by everyone, right? Some may be not good at this, right? If you keep on becoming aware and if you keep on forcing this mind, it will grow more and more these negative thoughts. So if all those 4 steps did not work for you, then you have to go for the final step, right? So it is much better to practice these 4 thoughts before doing the final one, okay? So practice these things. When you practice, you will feel and you will understand that your negative emotions are fading away little by little. Remember, this is not going to happen overnight. It will take a long time to do this, but you have to keep on practicing. Keep on doing it. Make it a habit, and then you will become a master of it. So practice this practice and make your mind a place where free from negative thoughts. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to yet another episode in Inner Guide Q&A program. Now I need to ask a question from you. When was the last time you had a sound sleep and after you wake up, you felt so good? I think most of the time we don't get a good sleep, and that is why we are feeling tired after a good sleep even. So today we're going to talk about how to wake up in the morning without feeling tired. Now remember, the quality of your wake up is highly dependent on how you sleep, the quality of your sleep. So first of all, let's talk about how to have a better sleep. Our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, taught us that if you can practice the love and the kindness throughout your life, in your heart, practically, you will sleep better. Right? So it says that it is so important to maintain a kind and a calm and a peaceful heart to have a better sleep. So your sleep is highly affected by several things. It depends on what you do during the day, and it depends on how you approach the bed, your sleeping posture, and also it depends on what you do after you wake up. So we are going to talk about these things. So let's talk about how the things happen during the day affects our sleep. Now, if you spend most of the time in the day by being angry with people, by being jealous of others, by fighting with others and being sad and frustrated, then your mentality is not in a good condition. And then when you go to the bed, you will never have a peaceful sleep because your mind and your body is not ready for that and it hasn't become peaceful. So it is so important to maintain a peaceful and a calm mind during the day, right? Of course, we cannot control the situations that we face during the day. We cannot control people complaining us, criticizing us, bullying us. We cannot control these things, but we can control our response to them, right? So we, by our own self, make the choice to be angry, to be jealous, to be frustrated, to blame. So what you have to do, you need to maintain and you need to try as much as possible to be kind and to be friendly with people, right? To help others, to do the good things, which makes you happy within. So if you can maintain a peaceful heart and peaceful mind during the day, even in the middle of the adversities and the problems, then no one can control and no one can destroy your peacefulness. So when you approach the bed and when you go to the sleep, you're going with a kind and a peaceful heart. So your sleep quality will be increased. And also the sleep is highly dependent on how you approach the bed, right? So in brief, I must say, approach the bed with a clean body and a clean mind, right? So how we approach the bed with a clean body? Refresh your body before you are going to sleep. Don't go to sleep with dust-filled bodies and sweat-filled bodies, right? You can have a little bit of a shower. If it was a cold shower, it is much better. But if you cannot have a cold shower, if you are not in a condition of having a cold shower, then have a lukewarm shower, right? Then you go to the bed. And when you go to the bed, it is much more important to clean your mind. So how to do that? And that's where the meditation comes in, right? You can bring in a meditation before you sleep. So it is so easy to practice a session or 5-minute session of loving kindness meditation, right? You can spread the love and kindness towards yourself first, and you can spread the same love and kindness to your family members, to your neighbors, to your people around your village, maybe the people in your town, and you can spread the love and kindness to the whole world. When you spread the thoughts and when you generate these thoughts within your mind gets so peaceful and it will become so serene. So bring in a loving kindness meditation before you sleep, right? And then you can go to the sleep with a clean body and a clean mind. And also, the quality of your sleep is highly dependent on your sleeping posture, right? Most of the people, they sleep on their stomach. They sleep facing down. But that is not a good posture to sleep. Our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, can sleep to the right side, and that posture is called Singhasaya, the lion's posture, which was used by our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, throughout his whole life. So if you can try that posture, that is one of the best postures to sleep. And also you can sleep to the left side, right? So these postures will increase your quality of the sleep, right? So these things affects your sleep in many ways, and it makes a huge impact. And then let's talk about what we should do after we wake up. Now, I need to share with you some tips which you can practice soon after you wake up, right? So first of all, do not do this. do not hit the snooze button. Now, many of you hit the snooze button and you go back to the sleep. Remember, when you hit the snooze button and when you go to the sleep again, that sleep is not a perfect sleep, right? And that is why you are feeling tired after you wake up. So what you have to do, don't hit the snooze button. Wake up and get down from the bed soon after you wake up, right? So you can keep your alarm clock, maybe your mobile phone, you can set the alarm and you can keep that thing across your room in a distance where you should walk to the alarm clock and stop it. So it will help you to get down from the bed. So that is one tip. And the next one is drink some water soon after you wake up. You can keep a glass of water near your alarm clock. Then you can stop the alarm and have a drink of water, right? And then it's better to have a little bit of a shower in the morning. If it is a cold shower, it is much better. But if you cannot have a cold shower, then go for a lukewarm shower and you will feel so refreshed in the morning. And after that, do some exercises, have some stretches on your body, then you're good to go, right? So these things, if you can do these things soon after you wake up, it will keep up the refreshness that you feel in the morning throughout the day. So that is how we have a peaceful wake up early in the morning and feel refreshed. So I hope you enjoy this video. And I wish you all, may all of you be well and happy, and may all of you live long, and may all of you realize the Four Noble Truths in this Gautam Buddha's dispensation. Namo Buddhaya, Theruvan Saranai. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome everyone to another video. In today's video, we are going to take a look at the threefold practices in Buddhism. Now, no matter how the way that you are approaching the Buddha's teachings, these are the three practices that you need to practice in Buddhism. Okay? So we are going to take a look at these things. Before understanding these three practices, we have to understand why we should practice these things. Okay? What is the goal and what is the ultimate goal of Buddha's teachings? Now, the ultimate goal of all the Buddhist teachings is to liberate your mind from unsatisfactoriness. Okay? Liberate your mind from all the sufferings in life. Okay? Because the Buddha said that the life is based on unsatisfactoriness. Okay? So once you have a deeper and a wiser understanding about your life, then you can liberate your mind from all the unsatisfactoriness in your life. Okay? So Buddha realized that to achieve this state, to enlighten your mind and to liberate your mind, you need to make some conditions and you have to practice your mind. So that is why Buddha introduced us these three practices to practice in our practical life in order to enlighten our mind. So, without any further ado, let's dive into these practices. So the first practice in Buddhism is called Sila. Now, I have discussed about Sila in an earlier video. You can watch it here. So basically, the Sila means the moral and ethical conduct. Being disciplined from your body and from your words. Okay? So once you practice this Sila, you can be disciplined from your body and from your words. Now, Buddha understood that when we are living with people, the way we behave, right, the actions that we do from our body and the words that we speak will impact the lives of other people as well as us. Okay? It will impact the life of ourselves, the way we behave and way we speak. And also, it will highly influence the others' lives too. And that is why Buddha said, purify your conduct. Do wholesome things from your body and from your words. So Sila helps you to practice the verbal and
the physical conduct in a moral and a more ethical and wholesome way. Okay, so in Sila we have precepts. Basically, for lay people like you, you have 5 precepts that you can protect. Okay, the first one is abstaining from killing beings. The Buddha says that stay away from killing beings. In that way, you become disciplined from your body. Abstaining from stealing. Do not take others' possessions without their permissions, without the permissions of themselves, with the stealing mind. Okay, once you protect that, you be disciplined from your body. And Buddha said that stay away from sexual misconduct. When you abstain from sexual misconduct, you become disciplined from your body. And the Buddha said, stay away from lying. Be disciplined from your words. Do not break the trust of others from your words. And finally, Buddha says, stay away from intoxicating your body. Okay? Do not use intoxicants and other drugs. It will lead to harmful situations and harmful consequences in your life. So basically, Buddha introduced us these 5 precepts to protect in your life. When you observe and when you protect these 5 precepts, you become disciplined from your body. Okay? So that is why Sila helps you to be disciplined, to live a disciplined life. Why we should live a disciplined life? We should live a disciplined life to stay away from regrets. Because when you look at these 5 precepts, if you engage in these things, if you kill animals, if you steal others' possessions, if you commit sexual misconduct, if you lie, and if you intoxicate yourself, what will happen? There are a lot of regrets. There will be a lot of regrets in your life. And also there will be things that you have to worry about. That is why Buddha says, stay away from these 5 things and you will live a regretless life. Okay? So that is the first practice. Moving on to the second practice, we have Samadhi. Now, Samadhi can be translated as concentration or mental peacefulness inside your mind. Now, remember, this Samadhi is supported by the first practice that is called the Sila. The Buddha said, when you practice Sila or when you live a moral and ethical life, what will happen? You will have less regrets in your mind. You will have no regrets in your mind. Once you have no regrets in your mind, what will happen? It will lead to the mental happiness. Because most of the people, they worry about the things that they have done in the past. Okay? Unwholesome things that they have done in the past. But once you live according to the precepts, once you live a virtuous life, then you can be happy about yourself. And also, your mind will be in a good and a happy state. That is why this Samadhi is supported by the Sila. Now, why we need Samadhi? Now, we need Samadhi to think clearly. Because you know that when your mind is busy, when your mind is scattered, and when it runs here and there, it is very difficult to think clearly. Now, Buddha considered that thinking clearly and thinking freely is a great benefit to understand the reality of your life. And that is why we need to practice Samadhi. For practicing Samadhi, Buddha introduced many meditations. So one type of meditation is called Samatha meditation. Samatha meditations helps you to condense your mind and find that peacefulness inside your mind. Okay? It includes loving kindness meditations, breathing meditations, mindfulness meditations. All those meditations will help you to achieve a peaceful and a calm life. Okay? So, but remember this, to achieve a peaceful and calm life, we have to focus on living a virtuous life, living a disciplined life. Keep that in your mind. So let's move on to the third practice, and this is the final practice in Buddha's teachings. That is called wisdom or Panna in Buddhism. Now, so many people think that knowledge is wisdom. Always remember, knowledge is a part of wisdom, but it is not the wisdom. Now, Buddha explains that you must achieve wisdom from 3 means, from 3 types of wisdoms. The first type of wisdom is called Suttamaya Panya. Suttamaya Panya means the wisdom that is gained through learning. Okay, you can learn, you can read, and you can listen to sermons, right? That is called the knowledge. Of course, wisdom has a part of knowledge. And also the second type of wisdom is called Chintamaya Prajna. Chintamaya Prajna is the wisdom that is gained by wisely reflecting. Okay, the wisdom that is gained by wisely reflecting on what you have learned, the reality of your life. When Buddha teaches about the reality of the life, when Buddha teaches about the impermanence and the reality of all the things, you have to wisely reflect on it. Okay, you have to think upon it. And once you think and once you wisely reflect on it, you gain the wisdom. You gain a deeper understanding. Okay, that is called Chintamaya Prajna, the wisdom that is gained by wisely reflecting. And also in the third type of wisdom, this is the most important type of wisdom, that is called Bhavanamaya Prajna, the wisdom that is gained by practicing. Okay, now the wisdom that is gained by practicing is supported by all those two wisdoms, Chintamaya Prajna and Suttamaya Prajna, the wisdom that is gained by listening or learning, and also the wisdom that is gained by wisely reflecting. Now Buddha says, when you learn and when you think and when you wisely reflect on it, then you can apply it to your practical life by doing meditations, by doing it practically. Okay, many of the people believe that Bhavanamaya Prajna is only based on meditations. No, Bhavana does not mean only the meditation. It gives the meaning of development or practicing. Okay, so you have to look, how can I apply these Buddha's teachings? How can I practice these things in my practical life? Once you do it, your wisdom will be developed. That is how you practice the wisdom in Buddha's teachings. So basically, these are the three main practices in Buddhism. Sila gives you the ethical and wholesome bodily and verbal conduct. And Samadhi will help you to develop a concentrated and a calmer and a peaceful mind. And Prajna gives you a deeper and a wiser understanding about the reality and our existence and all the experiences that we go through in our life. Once you practice these three practices, you will be directed. Your life will be focused on liberation. Your mind will be well prepared for the liberation and to a deeper understanding about the life. So these are the three practices that we practice in Buddhism. Try to practice these things and try to apply it to your practical life. Wish you all happy and a peaceful life. Namo Buddhaya.
There are so many kinds of people. They live in different social states, right? We have to deal with these people when we are living our life. So there's a problem which origins inside our mind when we live with these people and that problem is we compare our life with them, right? We compare our problems and our life and our social states with other people's lives. Remember, this comparison is not the problem. This comparison can be used in many ways. People use it in many ways, right? Some people, they use this comparison to motivate themselves, right? Now, when you see athletes and the people who are doing sports, when they see the players or athletes which have more capacity and more talents than them, then they try to compare themselves with others, and what they do is they develop themselves. They motivate themselves to do more, to practice more, right? So this comparison can be used in a good way. But many of us doesn't do that. What we do is, we compare our life with others and we become frustrated with our life. Now, this happens for many people who use social media. When they visit Facebook or Instagram, there are so many cases, and there are so many problems that origins when you visit social media, because you see, when you visit those platforms, you see so many pictures of other people, how they live their life, how they eat, how they dress, how they go out in Sunday nights and Saturday nights. So you see such pictures. But currently, you may be not in a situation to enjoy your life. Sometimes you may be in a problem. So what you do is, you compare that life with your life and you become frustrated. You become sad. You become depressed. That is why, from researchers, it has been proved that the people who visit and who are in social media for long times, they have a higher probability of having the social stress and depression and mental stress inside. Why? That is because of this frustration due to comparison. So that is the comparison that we need to stop, right? If you compare your life with someone, and if you become motivated to be and develop more inside you, then it's a good one. So, when you see the happy lives of others, right? If you compare, then you become frustrated. Remember, you cannot be someone else, right? We can only be ourselves. If you try to be someone else, that means you're wasting your life. You're wasting your valuable time that can be used to develop yourself. So the first thing that you have to know is that I cannot be someone else, I can be me. You can be the best version of yourself. That is what we need to do. So what we have to do is, we need to battle with ourselves. We don't want to battle with others. Right? We don't want to be competitive. We don't want to have races. We don't want to do that. What we have to do is, we need to battle with our own weaknesses. We need to try hard to eliminate and destroy our own weaknesses, our own faults, our own bad habits. That is what makes our life develop. But if you compare with others' lives, and if you become frustrated, and if you do nothing, you're not developing anything, right? So it is like running a race. Now, you all have seen athletes running races, right? So athlete's job is to be the best person, the best athlete in his track, right? His job is to run as fast as he can in his track. But if he keep on staring on others' tracks, and if we keep thinking on what others do, he will not be successful. He will not become a successful athlete. So what he needs to do is to run as fast as he can by focusing on his own track, and then he will become a successful athlete. So life is also like that. You need to focus on your track. You need to focus on your life. How I'm going to develop my good qualities. How I'm going to develop my spirituality. How I'm going to develop my mental strength. If you focus on yourself, you see the weaknesses and strengths and opportunities that you have within yourself. Then you can have and you can develop these things inside you. Right? But if you merely comparing on others and staring to others' life, and if you do nothing, you will be in the same place forever. So I will give you
a good suggestion that was given by our great teacher Supreme Buddha to stop this comparison, right? That divine quality that Buddha explained that we should develop within ourselves is called mudita. What is that name? Mudita. Mudita means appreciative joyfulness. So the main aim in practicing this mind of mudita, the mind of appreciative joyfulness, is to eliminate the jealous or the envy that we build up inside by comparing our lives with others. Right? Normally when we compare, we build up the jealous inside. Right? That is what makes our life frustrated. That is what makes our mind stressed and depressed. So what we need to do is to practice mudita, or appreciative joyfulness. So how to practice it? Here's how to do it. It's a simple way. It's a simple and a practical way. You should apply these things to your practical world when you're living in your life, right? This is how to do it. Is when you see the good lives of other people, when you see the bright sides of people, what you need to do is you need to practice your mind to be happy by seeing them, to wish the well-being of their life. Right? If you can be happy by seeing their good lives, if you can be happy by enjoying others' lives, you will never be frustrated. Right? You have to be happy, and you have to say, you have to wish the well-being of others from the deepest place in your heart. Then you will build up an inner happiness, right? You are not comparing yourself with others. You become happy by seeing others' success. But still, you have the mind to develop your own qualities, to eliminate your own weaknesses, right? You can use that comparison in a good way. So that is how to practice the mudita. So here's a simple way and a practical way to do it. Whenever you get up early in the morning, before you get down from your bed, just sit on the bed, close your eyes, and for maybe 5 seconds, you can think, may all the beings in this world become successful. May they enjoy their life. May they be happy forever. Wish the well-being of others. If you wish it, you will not become frustrated. Right? The best thing that you have to remember is you can be yourself only. You cannot be someone else. So try to develop your own good qualities and try to eliminate your own weaknesses. Battle with yourself, right? It is you versus you. You need to always give that and be the best version of yourself, right? If you do the best thing that you can be, you should do, and if you become the best person that you can become, then you don't want to worry about other things, right? You don't want to worry about the talents and the things that you did not have in your life, because that is because you became the best person of yourself. That is what you can do. So stop comparing yourself. Develop mudita, the appreciative joyfulness, and enjoy your life, enjoy your peacefulness by developing these good qualities. Namo Buddhaya, Thiruvan Saranai.
Namo Buddhaya. Welcome and welcome back to another video. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever lied to someone? Well, I know what you're thinking about. You will say to me, well, what are you talking about? We all have lied, right? That is the nature of all of us. Yes, it is the common human nature for all of us to lie, right? I got this question from one of the parents who was visiting our monastery. She asked from me, like, my daughter has this
serious bad habit that she always lies to me, right? No matter what she does, she never tells the truth. What's the reason for this and how can I stop this? Then I asked from her, have you ever punished your child or scolded or yelled at your child just because she did a bad thing, she did a wrong thing, and she told the truth? She told you what she did. Have you ever done that? Then she said, yes, I have done it many times, that I have scolded and I have punished my child just because she told the truth, right? And I told her, this is the biggest reason why children lie. And this is the biggest reason that people lie, most of the time. People lie because they're afraid of the punishments, right? And also, people lie because they are being punished in the past, even though they told the truth, right? So that is why I always advise for parents and people. No matter people, who are the people who you're living with, they will do mistakes, they will do wrong things. That is the human nature, right? But make them understand, no matter what bad thing or what wrong thing you did, tell the truth. If you tell the truth, there will be no punishment, there will be no anger in it. If you tell the truth, there will be love, affection, guidance, and understanding. That is what we need to practice, right? People lie because they're afraid of being punished and being afraid of that hurt and pain. And also, one of the biggest reasons that people lie is because they're afraid of losing things. Okay, so if we can make an environment for people around us, for our loved ones, that there is this understanding, there is this love and care and guidance, so that they will always tell the truth to you, right? So I want to introduce you to this wonderful practice that we have in monks community, right? Because as monks, right, when we become monks, we get 227 precepts to practice, right? Sometimes these precepts are broken by ourselves, right? Most of the time it is because of lack of mindfulness or lack of awareness, right? Mistakes can happen. If we broke some precept, there is this practice called apatideshana. Apatideshana means if we did a wrong thing, or if we break a precept, what we have to do is we have to go to one of our brother monks and open up it, right? That means tell the mistake that we have done and tell them that I know and I see this mistake as a mistake, and hereafter I am trying my best to be disciplined, right? And the response from the other party is the most wonderful thing, right? The response always will be that I know and I see this mistake in you as a mistake. I understand that you have done a mistake. So from hereafter, you will be forgiven and you will be guided and you will get the help from the monks community to be disciplined, right? And that is what we all need to have in all of our families and people who we are dealing with, right? We need to have that understanding and guidance and love and care. And then people will always be truthful, right? Because people don't understand what are the bad effects and adverse effects of this lying. Most of the time people say, okay, I can say white lies, right? I can say white lies, so it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make any bad thing, or it doesn't hurt me. Well, white lies do hurt you, right? Although you said it just because it is a small thing and doesn't hurt anyone, that is the start of a mistake. When you get comfortable with white lies, right, little by little you will get comfortable with big lies. So that is why we should not, that is why the Buddha said, when the Buddha defines that you should stay away from lying, when the Buddha said you should stay away from lying, Buddha never referred to any kind of colors of lie, or white lie, or red lie, or any kind of lie. Buddha said, be truthful, stay away from lying, right? So how can we understand this lying? The lying should be understood that the words that we speak with the intention of fooling someone, right? Putting him in a difficult situation and fooling someone, right? So these kind of words we should not be spoken, and we should be always truthful, right? Being truthful in the beginning, it will a little bit hurt a little bit. It will be difficult a little bit. But being truthful has many, many benefits, right? So that is why we need to understand that lying is not good in any way, right? No matter it is a white lie or a red lie or any kind of lie, lie is harmful for all of us, right? If we can try to be truthful, if we can live our life in a truthful way, it will give you a huge satisfaction about your life. When you think about your life, how truthful you have lived, then it will give you a good sense of like happiness into your life. Okay, so if you can create an environment of understanding, love and care and guidance, so then the people around you will not lie to you. Okay, so tell to your children, no matter what you do, tell the truth. If you tell the truth, there will be no punishment, there will be no scolding, and only there will be love, care, and guidance. So keep this little advice in your mind and be happy.
Namo Buddhaya. Welcome everyone to another video. So today, let's talk about loneliness and how we can face this situation. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about two things. And the first one is the loneliness, and the second one is the solitude, which is more reframed version of being alone. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about loneliness. When we are around people, when we are living with people, and when we are in relationships with people, normally we feel happy. We feel that we are content, right? And we feel this joyfulness within ourselves. But when they are not around us, or when they leave us, sometimes when we have to depart from them, normally we feel depressed, sad, or lonely, or we feel like no one cares about us. So this is the feeling of loneliness. If we analyze this emotion of loneliness, we can find that we have become happy because of the people around us, because of their reaction, because of their way of behavior. That was the reason that we became happy. Simply it means that we have given the key of our own happiness to other people. So when they leave our life, sometimes when they depart from ourselves, sometimes when they fade away from our life, what happens to us is we become unhappy, we become sad, we become depressed, and we feel like no one is caring for us. There is no one to help for me. That is what we are thinking. So how we can deal with this? Well, that is where we come to the topic of solitude. Supreme Buddha advised us, Supreme Buddha advised the monks to practice this practice of being solitude. So what do you mean by solitude? So first of all, let's compare the loneliness to the solitude. Then you can take some idea about that. In loneliness, when you're lonely, you're thinking for someone to come to your life and make you happy. That means you're depending on others. Your happiness depends on others. But in solitude, you try to find the happiness within yourself. When you find the happiness inside yourself, you don't want to depend on another person. You don't want to depend on second person. You can find your happiness within yourself. And that is what the practice of solitude gives us. So when you are being solitude, or simply when you are being alone, now there are the people talk about this like the loneliness and being alone is two different things, right? So when you're being alone or when you're being in solitude, you're happy. You're not finding the happiness from these outer sources. You find the happiness within yourself. So Buddha teaches us to look at this loneliness
not as something to be sad, not as something negative. Buddha teaches us to look at this loneliness, something that is beneficial for you, something that is positive. So how we can use this loneliness, or how we can reframe this loneliness to be positive? Well, if you think about whenever you are being alone, you have more time for yourself, right? You have a bigger freedom for yourself. You can think about yourself. You can reflect more about yourself, and you can practice meditations, or you can think about your health and do some practices about that. You can do some self-development techniques, so you can improve yourself. So when you use that time, when you use that loneliness for good things, then you become more positive about that. Then you will never feel these sad or depressing states. So let me tell you a little story how Buddha felt lonely at one time. Actually, this incident happened to the Buddha before he became enlightened. We call him the Bodhisattva. When he was Bodhisattva, he was practicing this self-mortification for 6 years. He gave lots of hardships to this body. He did some extreme meditations in the jungle. So there were 5 monks who were helping the Bodhisattva. So he practiced this self-mortification meditations for 6 years, and he mastered that. Finally, he came to the conclusion of that I cannot achieve this enlightenment by self-mortificating or by giving this extreme hardship to this body. So he decided to find this middle way. So what he did was, first of all, he took his bowl and he went to the village and he got some foods to eat. Because he thought that to do the meditations, I need to have this physical energy. But those 5 monks who were helping to Bodhisattva, who were expecting the enlightenment from the Bodhisattva through this self-mortification, was so confused because they saw that the Bodhisattva is having these foods. Then those 5 monks thought, like, now he's not going to achieve this enlightenment. The enlightenment can only be achieved by this self-mortification. So they never believed on the Bodhisattva. So what they did was, they left the Bodhisattva. Now our Maha Bodhisattva was all alone in the middle of the jungle. There was no one to help him. There was no one to care about him. No one knew about him. He was all alone. But he didn't think about that loneliness as something depressed or something negative. So he thought, now I have more time for myself. I can do my meditations freely. There was no one to think about me. So I must use this time for my self-development. That is what Maha Bodhisattva thought. So that is the way that we also should think about this loneliness. If you are feeling lonely, if you are having some kind of a loneliness situations in your life, use that time, use that valuable time to create a better life for yourself, because you have more time. You can do meditations. You can stick into a daily routine of the self-development. You can do meditations, you can do workouts, you can walk for some time, and you can be with this nature, read a book, or learn something new, practice meditations, do exercises. These things can be done when you are all alone. So, rather than feeling depressed about the situations that you are in, why can't we become more happy about the time that we are spending alone, right? So practice this, okay? So if people comes to your life, let them come. If people walks away from your life, let them walk away. But you have to be by yourself. You have to think about yourself. That is what you have to think, and that is what you have to do in this valuable time. So I think you got some idea about the loneliness and being in the solitude. So practice the solitude and make your life more better. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya. Good morning, everyone. Welcome and welcome back to another video. From today's video, let's discuss about the problem of feeling worthless, right? Sometimes no matter how good we are, sometimes how good other people to us are, we feel worthless about ourselves, right? We feel that we don't have any value, right? My life, there is no value in my life. Why am I living? Have you ever felt like this? Now, this has been a big problem for me before becoming a monk, right? Before becoming a monk, we have to undergo a training period of like 1.5 years, right? I will tell you about my story. So I was staying in this monastery, and I had to learn how to become a monk, and we were practicing and everything. But since even though everything is good, everything around me is good, right? Everyone around me is good, and also even though I am doing good, that still I feel like, why am I living in this life, right? My life, there is no value in my life. Everything that I do, I fail. Sometimes I fail in my life. But when you fail like that, you think like, oh, I'm a failure, right? I don't have any value in my life. And that is not the reality, right? That when it comes to reality, that is not true. But still, mind is very good at distorting the reality and creating these scenarios in our mind to say to our life that you're worthless, right? You have no value. There is no value in your life, right? You're not good enough. So how can we deal with this? So I will tell you how I got the help from the spiritual companions and the monks and my teacher. So one time I was so upset of the things that I'm doing, and also everything that I have been doing went wrong, right? It wasn't successful. I was meditating, I was helping the monk, but sometimes I made mistakes, and I was worrying about these mistakes. No one complained about me. No one said nothing bad about me, but still my heart says to me that you're not good enough. You're a failure, right? So I was so upset. And now when you're in upset mindset, what is the first thing that comes out of you? It's your facial expressions, right? Someone can say your face is a reflection of your mind state. Okay, so I was upset, and one of the monks who was residing in that monastery noticed me that I'm upset. So he came up to me and said, like, tell me, what's bothering you? Is there anything that is bothering in your mind? You can say it to me. Let's discuss. So the first reaction, as usual, when someone asks from us, how are you, or is there any problem in you? What we say is that, okay, I'm fine, right? There's no problem. But he understood my mental state and told me, tell me the truth. I'm here to help you. We can discuss so that we can sort out the problem. So I told this condition of my mind, mental state of my mind, that I am feeling worthless. I'm feeling that I'm a failure. And then he said, okay, you're feeling worthless. Let's say you're feeling worthless and you're feeling that you don't have any value in your life. But now I need you to check the reality. What are you doing right now? You're meditating, you're helping the monks, and you're doing all the chores, and you're still feeling worthless. Is that the reality? One thing that he said is, check the reality, right? Check what is real. Because mind is pretty good at creating all the worst case scenarios and all the pessimistic thoughts in our mind. Because it's a thought pattern, right? One thing that our mind has is, it has the habit of creating the thought patterns, right? Once we start to feed our mind with a certain thought patterns, it has this looping effect of creating this thought pattern again and again and again. The more we think it, the more it comes back to our mind. So he said that check the reality and understand that your life is not worthless, right? Your life, there are many things that you can be happy about, right? That's the reality. As humans, there is nothing that we can feel like my life is worthless, right? Because there are so many things that we can be happy about. Like being a human itself is something that we can be happy about, right? We got the chance to be a human and practice these good qualities, live as a good human itself is something that we can be happy about. And be happy about that you have air to breathe, right? You have people around you that smiles at you. At least something that find something that you can be happy about, because there are so many things, there are thousands and thousands of things in reality that we can be happy about. Okay, that is one thing that you have to do. Check the reality. Is it true that my mind saying that your life is worthless? But when you come to reality, you find that there are a lot of things that you can be happy about in our life. Okay, and there's another thing that you can do, and that is keep a gratitude journal, right? Write few things that you have to be like you can be happy about in your life, right? You can be happy about so many things if you think about it. So find something and write about it. And also another thing that you have to do whenever you get these kind of thought patterns is to try to give more, right? Try to help more to other people, right? Whenever you do that, you feel the value of the things that you do, right? The positive energy that you create towards other people, right? And whenever you give, whenever you help others, you see the smile of their faces. You see that people are thanking you, and you think that, oh, this is what the true value of my life, right? My life is not worthless. My life is valuable, that I can create many positive things around me in my life, so that it's not true that my mind's saying that I'm worthless, right? When you realize that, you come to this state and come to that understanding that how valuable this human life is, right? How many positive things that you can do in this life, right? When you do that, that state of mind will go away. So things that we have to do is check the reality and understand, ask from yourself that is that true, that truly that my life is worthless or not, right? And also be generous, help other people, and be happy and understand that your life is truly valuable. So keep this little advice in your mind and be happy.